There's a ghost next door, but he's not a scary ghost. Danny appears to be a nice, normal kid. It reminds me of Casper, the friendly ghost.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
12-year-old Hannah Fairchild has a nightmare about dying in a fire. She's happy it was all just a dream, definitely not foreshadowing for the end of the book. Hannah meets Danny Anderson, the next-door neighbor. He seems nice, but it's a little weird she didn't know about them earlier. He and his mom moved in months ago, but she didn't see them until just now. Is that possible? Is she that unobservant? Hannah's really bored this summer because all her friends are gone. She writes letters to her friend Janie, who's away at camp. It must be the evil Camp Night Moon from the previous book, because Janie never responds. Hannah goes into town. She sees Mr. Chesney, the angry postmaster, yelling at a group of 3 kids. It's Danny and his 2 punk friends. Mr. Chesney throws rocks at them until they leave. A dark figure steps out from behind a tree. He's all black with glowing red eyes. He sounds like death, and he starts whispering Hannah's name. "Hannah, come to me." She manages to escape. A few days later, Hannah talks to Danny. He says his punk friends are Ellen and Fred. Hannah's surprised they're in the same grade at the same school, but they've never seen each other, and they don't know anyone in common. I'm surprised she didn't ask him about any of the teachers. It's probably a good chance they know some of the same teachers, even if they don't know each other's 2 best friends. Danny leaves to get a ladder. Hannah thinks he disappears like a ghost. He climbs up the ladder to the roof. He falls off head first. Hannah screams and shuts her eyes. When she opens them again, Danny is completely unhurt. That's impossible, unless he's a ghost. She tries to spy on Danny. The first time he catches her, the second time she loses track of where he is. I've noticed Hannah is not good at playing spy. Hannah is paralyzed with fear when the dark figure returns. When she regains control of herself, there's no one around but Danny. Hannah makes a list of all the reasons why Danny is a ghost. Danny appears out of nowhere and tries to take the list, because he is a ghost, and he can't let anyone know the truth. That's when Hannah wakes up. Yeah, Danny didn't really confess he's a ghost. It was all a dream. This scene disappointed me. The next 50 pages of the book is mostly Hannah wondering, is Danny a ghost, or isn't he? I think the story would have been much better if the ghost was exposed here, before the halfway point of the book, instead of dragging it out for 50 pages. Hannah tries knocking on their door, but Danny's mom completely ignores her. Why won't she answer the door? Is she a ghost too? I've never heard about ghosts refusing to answer the door. Maybe it's like a rude ghost thing. When Hannah questions Danny, he says his mother is deaf. Is he telling the truth, or is she a ghost? Hannah tries telling her family that Danny's a ghost, but no one believes her. You see what I mean about dragging out the question of is he a ghost or isn't he for 50 pages? It just goes on for too long. For about 5 chapters, Hannah follows Danny and his punk friends. They steal ice cream, they goof around, and they dare Danny to rip out Mr. Chesney's mailbox. Mr. Chesney chases them off and almost catches Danny. It's fairly interesting. Although I'm told in the original version of the book, Mr. Chesney pulls out a shotgun and starts threatening the kids. Whoa! That sounds like it could have been the scariest scene of the book. I wonder why the reprint got rid of that scene. Maybe it's because they didn't want gun violence in these books. But then again, maybe not, because in the previous book, the reprint had all the gun violence. Didn't get rid of it there. Hannah encounters the dark figure twice, and she asks Danny if he's a ghost. For real this time. He laughs it off until they play soccer. Hannah's arms go right through Danny's body. Hannah realizes she is the ghost. The main character was dead all along. Hannah learns she and her family died in a fire 5 years ago. Her family members disappear for the rest of the book at this point, so she can't ask them questions like, "Did you know we're ghosts? Why did you let me think I'm alive? If we're ghosts, why is it that Mom still buys groceries and Dad goes into work every day? Hannah has interacted with a number of real-world objects in this book. She figures she can do that, even though she's a ghost, because ghosts come and go sometimes. Sure, let's go with that explanation. Hannah follows Danny and the punks to Mr. Chesney's house. They break into the house and start playing with matches. That's a terrible idea. You should never play with matches in real life. The house catches on fire. The two punks escape, but Danny is trapped inside. Hannah goes to save him, but the dark figure tries to stop her. It's revealed the dark figure is Danny's ghost. Yes, Danny's still alive, but he's also dead with an evil ghost. That's kind of weird. The ghost wants Danny to die, so the two of them will trade places, and the ghosts will be freed. Again, kind of weird. I don't quite understand the villain's plan here, but I get the basic idea. He's evil and wants Danny to die. Hannah stops the villain by saving Danny's life. Luckily, she's a ghost, so she can go through smoke without being hurt. Hannah pulls Danny out of the burning building, and she departs from the mortal world. The end. Post-book follow-up. There is no romance between Danny and Hannah, but I won't lie, my boyfriend's a ghost would make for an awesome Goosebumps book. I like this better than the previous book, but I didn't like the book overall. As I said, the book probably would have been better if it removed 50 pages of Hannah wondering whether or not Danny is a ghost. The scenes of Danny with his friends make up a quarter of the book, and it kind of felt like they were stretched out in order to meet a certain page count. Maybe the book could have removed half of the material, and in its place, it could have given us a few chapters where Hannah remembers her horrific death. Or we could have had a scene where Hannah talks to Danny. They didn't talk for the final quarter of the book, which is a letdown. I wanted to see her talk to him about the fact that she's a ghost. I think the book rushed a bit with Hannah's realization Danny's a ghost. She did not need much convincing before jumping to that conclusion. On the other hand, the title of the book tells us he's a ghost, so it's probably for the best the book doesn't try to stretch out that part. But hey, maybe not. There are other Goosebumps books that do a great job of slowly building up to a terrifying ending. Just not this one. It had a slow build-up, but I thought it was just stretching things out as opposed to a really creepy, well-done slow build-up. I give Goosebumps number 10, The Ghost Next Door, 4 ghosts out of 10.